Standard 7th, Subject Maths, Chapter 6, Indices. Today we are going to learn to solve practice set 28. Let's learn division of indices with the same base. In the previous practice set, you have learned the multiplication of indices with the same base. Now you are going to learn the division. Look at the first example. 6 raised to 4 divided by 6 raised to 2 is equal to question mark. So we take it in the numerator and denominator form. 6 raised to 4 upon 6 raised to 2 is equal to, usually we would write the multiplication form as 6 multiplied by itself 4 times in the numerator and 6 raised to 2 in the denominator means 6 multiplied twice by itself. So now that we have got the multiplication form, we can reduce the numerator and denominator which are equal. So 2 6 from numerator and 2 6 from denominators get reduced. So we are left with 6 multiplied by 6 which is equal to 6 square. Therefore we can say that 6 raised to 4 divided by 6 raised to 2 is equal to 6 raised to 4 minus 2 is equal to 6 square. So what rule we have applied here? That when you are dividing the indices with the same base, keep the base as it is in the answer and subtract the index. The first index minus the second index. So let's have a look at second example. Minus 2 raised to 5 divided by minus 2 raised to 3 is equal to question mark. So usually we would write it as minus 2 raised to 5 upon minus 2 raised to 3 which is equal to, write the multiplication form, minus 2 into itself 5 times and down in the denominator minus 2 into itself 3 times. Now reduce. Minus 2 and minus 2 will get cancelled, equal number in numerator and denominator. So we are left with minus 2 square. That means minus 2 raised to 5 divided by minus 2 raised to 3 is equal to minus 2 raised to 2. And you know that 5 minus 3 is 2. So simple formula we get here. Now I know if A is a non-zero rational number, m and n are positive integers and m is greater than n, then A upon m, A raised to m upon A raised to n is equal to A raised to m minus n. That means when you get a division sum with the same base, you can subtract the index and keep the base as it is. Okay. For this, the base should be a non-zero rational number. M and n should be positive integers. And m should be greater than n. That means the first index should be greater than the second index. So if these rules are there, then we can solve the division of index with the same base. Division of indices with the same base. So what formula we have derived here? Have a look. A raised to m divided by A raised to n is equal to A raised to m minus n. What was the formula in the previous practice set? It was A raised to m into A raised to n is equal to A raised to m plus n. That means when it is multiplication, we add the index. And when it is division, we subtract the index. Okay, this is also a very important formula. Kindly write it down in your book before you begin with the practice set. Alright, some more rules are given here. If A is raised to 0, it is equal to 1. Okay. The meaning of A raised to 0 is if A is not equal to 0, then a raised to m upon a raised to m equals 1. So a raised to m upon a raised to m is equal to a raised to m minus m, which is a raised to 0. So that means a raised to 0 is equal to 1. Alright, you just keep it in mind. A raised to 0 equals to 1. Now a raised to minus m is equal to 1 upon a raised to m. Okay, you have learned the multiplicative inverse, right? So a raised to minus m is equal to 1 upon a raised to m. This is explained in detail on page 45 of your textbook. You can have a look there. Therefore, if we have 5 upon 3 raised to minus 1, you will write the multiplicative inverse and minus 1 will become positive. So 5 upon 3 raised to minus 1 is equal to 1 upon 5 upon 3 raised to 1, and you write it as 3 upon 5. Okay, so you will have to write the number or the indices in its inverse proportion when it's raised to minus 1. Then the minus sign also will be removed. Alright. So, what have you learnt here now? Now I know. We get the rule that if a is not equal to 0 and b is also not equal to 0 and m is a positive integer, then a upon b raised to minus m is equal to, write it in inverse, b upon a, and the sign will become positive of the index. Minus m will become plus m. So you have to keep this in mind. Let's solve practice set 28. First sum. A raised to 6 divided by a raised to 4. What does the formula tells us? Keep the index, keep the base as it is and subtract the index. So a we write as it is. 6 minus 4 is 2. So your final answer is equal to a square. Okay. Let's have a look at second example. M raised to 5 divided by m raised to 8. M, that is the base, write as it is. Since it's division, now we have to subtract the index. 5 minus 8. Plus and minus is minus. 5 minus 8 is 3, and since the greater number has got negative sign, answer will be negative. So m raised to minus 3 is your final answer. Third sum. P raised to 3 divided by P raised to 13 is equal to P raised to, you will have to subtract the index, 3 minus 13. Plus and minus operation is minus. 13 minus 3, answer 10, and the greater number has negative sign, so answer will be minus 10. So your final answer, P raised to minus 10. Fourth sum. X raised to 10 divided by x raised to 10. X we keep as it is. We subtract the index. 10 minus 10, 0. And as I mentioned earlier, any non-zero number raised to 0 is equal to 1. Therefore, x raised to 0 is equal to 1. Since a raised to 0 is 1, x raised to 0 is also equal to 1. Question number 2. Find the value. We have 4 sums again here. Let's solve them one by one. First sum, minus 7 raised to 12 divided by minus 7 raised to 12. Solution. Minus 7 keep as it is. First subtract 12 minus 12, the index. You get 0. So minus 7 raised to 0 is equal to 1. Why? Because a raised to 0 equals 1. So any number or any alphabet raised to 0 is equal to 1. That's our formula. Alright, you have to memorize this. Second sum, 7 raised to 5 divided by 7 raised to 3. Now you have these sums where you have to find the value. First we only simplified. We only had to subtract the index. Now you have to subtract the index and then find the value. So let's first subtract the index. 7, the base remains as it is. 5 minus 3, 2. So you get 7 square. 7 square means 7 multiplied by 7. Answer 49. So here you are finding the value also. So first we simplify and then we find the value. Third sum. 4 upon 5 raised to 3 divided by 4 upon 5 raised to 2. Now 4 upon 5 is our base. We write it. And then we subtract the index. 3 minus 2 is 1. So the final answer is 4 upon 5. Raised to 1 you can write, or you can simply keep it as 4 upon 5. It's one and the same. Fourth sum. 4 raised to 7 divided by 4 raised to 5 is equal to 4 as it is, 7 minus 5. We subtract the index, you get 4 raised to 2. 4 raised to 2 means 4 multiplied by 4 is equal to 16. So your final answer is 16. So here we have finished practice set 28. Do solve these sums in your notebook and practice them well, especially the formulas. Note down these formulas on a separate paper and try to memorize them. Okay? So students, stay safe, keep learning, and thank you.